Hey everybody, welcome back. In this video we are going to be talking about T4 mats and where you might want to put them. A long time ago, God, I've done it twice now. I think once back in August and another time in December. I had this monster spreadsheet that I created that kind of listed every single T4 ability mat upgrade in the game and essentially ranked them. I did a kind of a macro ranking and then, somewhat microed within those different macro sections. So that's what I'm here to talk about today. There's a lot of stuff kind of going on in game. We got Alliance War, which is, a ton of fun. I don't know how you guys are liking it. Obviously, I think it depends on, what you guys can, who you're getting matched up with. If you're getting matched up with the Cabal folks or the Pants of Hulk folks, that's probably pretty unfortunate. Even some of these top 10 teams, Wakanda, etc. We've been doing pretty well. I think we're top 20-ish, maybe, or 50-ish. I don't know, or 21. So we're doing pretty decent so far, especially considering our CP rank. But you tie that in with your, where you put those T4 mats and this is one aspect of the game where it matters. Arena, you've got, what are your best arena teams? Should that matter? That's where all this type of thing comes in. You can see I've got a, decent rank here. There's a whole bunch of people competing, for these top arena spots. A lot of Brotherhood, to be honest with you. I'm sure that's what you guys are seeing. Is that where you want to put your T4 mats? And then obviously your raids. At this point, it's, your Ultimate 6 hopefully is getting to be a little bit easier. If you haven't seen my video for the dopest, baddest, raddest raid team ever, please check that out. It'll help you out dramatically on that raid, where you can just kind of keep and focus on one team, and that team can even help you in Alliance Wars and all that kind of stuff. So, like I said, the biggest thing here is, where do you want to put these T4, ability upgrades? You want to put it in something like this. It's obviously if you have the gold, but we're ignoring the gold aspect of it and just kind of focusing in on the, the actual application. Is 30% damage for Vision good. You'll go to another character, where it's Star-Lord here. It's, his ultimate's 70%. Is that good? 70%'s a lot, but, does that, depends on their base damage, because, if you got another character, I think Nobu is an example. Let me find him here in a second. One of his upgrades, I want to see it says basic. Yeah, 70% here you can see in the level 7. Is that good? Most people are like, well, 70% is great, but it's Nobu. Is it good or isn't it good? So, that's the discussion at hand here. I'll go through the rankings that I've got. And this is, the way I look at this is it's kind of like a dialogue a little bit. I've put these on here. I've evolved them over time. I've left the rankings that I put on there from the last go in December, just so you can kind of see how it's evolved since then. And, and even as I do these, there are times where, one, my eyes start getting crossed because there's so many of them, and two, there's going to be a different opinion on what should be higher, than another ability. And it's going to vary. You'll see that even on my list, I've picked some things that are much lower in the rankings. I don't just follow my list 1 through 10 or whatever. It varies depending on what teams you got. So, having said that, the reason I'm talking about it being a dialogue is if you see something on here, please comment below. Say, hey, WolverThor, that doesn't make any sense. Why would you have that there? Or, hey, you're missing so-and-so's ability, which is amazing. It, improves the whole team's dynamic. It changes the outlook of a PvP match, or it really helps on raids or in Alliance Wars that's so clutch, whatever it might be. And I've changed some of these rankings in the past based on some comments. So if you got them, please share them. So having said that, let's jump over to the wonderful spreadsheet. So I know you can't read this right now and you can't see it. That's fine. I'm going to zoom in, so don't worry too much about that. I'm showing a further back look to give you the macro idea here. So on this, what you'll see here is I've got columns. This is the ability. This is the description of the ability. This is just how much mats it takes. That's kind of irrelevant here. And then I've got current rank. And you can see there's different colors here, from a neon green to kind of a pale green to a white to a blue to an orange to a, just red. I should probably differentiate these reds, to be honest with you, because one is slightly different than the other. But we're not going to worry about that for now. So anyway, the way these general, and these are the macro sections, and this is why I'm zoomed out for so far, is I call these great, I call these good, call these okay. Call these, you know, the way I put hmms, I'm kind of thinking about it. These oranges are meh, you know, whatever. This section of the red is crap, and this bottom section of the red is total crap. So that's how I originally grouped them. And you can see some of these here, I don't even have numbers next to them because it's, you know, it's like there's no point to really put numbers next to some of these. And even in the good section, I've kind of grouped some of them in similar numbers. So before I get into the numbers and the rankings here, the next part of this over to the side is I've got some damage ranks, which you'll see. And what I mean by damage ranks, so I'm going to scroll way down here. So what I've done here is I've taken any, and I'm going to zoom in for this part because we don't need macro views here. So what I've done here is I've taken every single T4 ability that does a damage increase and ranked it on a purely statistical increase or basis. So what I mean by that is, you know, Captain Marvel's ultimate has a certain increase. You know, here it looks like it's 100%. So the damage increase there is that total. When you rank it, it's 1. Her special is a 90% increase. So and this is all based on 7-star, no red stars, level 70, tier 11 gear. I figure that is kind of a good benchmark for most players in the game. Once you get red stars, that's too, you know, RNG dependent. You don't know if you're going to get them. Level 70 is, you know, obviously the level cap, and tier 11 is, you know, a reasonable gear level. So I've just picked that one arbitrarily. It should generally stay. I mean, obviously these numbers will go up as you increase it, but I don't believe there's exponential growth in any of the you know, gear tiers or, you know, anything like that. I think it's probably a, you know, a flat line or on the increase. So anyway, so you can see here that, you know, these numbers vary dramatically. You know, Captain Marvel's got 2 huge increases with her base damage. Korath has a big increase. You can kind of see Iron Fist is a good one, and then it starts pretty, you know, dropping down pretty significantly here into the 5,000s, 4,000s, you know, 3,000s, and, you know, all the way down to the 2s. So that's what this ranking is, and it purely is based on this number. You get 2,300, you know, 22 increased damage, puts you at 87th place. You know what I mean? Some of them are obviously tied, but you get the idea. So when you see a damage increase here off to the side, let me zoom out slightly here for you. One more. And let's go over here. When you see this section off to the side here, oh, I went too far. That was my old one. This damage ranks here, that's what that's indicating. So Captain Marvel's is the top rated damage. So as you can see, some of these, it's not as simple as just putting those in order, because there's going to be different you know, things that each ability does, or maybe a tune like Nobu or whatever is maybe not that useful, or maybe one tune is more useful so it jumps up, or it's a first turn ability, so on and so forth. So let's zoom in here to our 90s. So let's get to the list. Enough talking about the spreadsheet, and it's just been a while since I did this, so I really wanted to kind of make sure I explained what it is. So at the first rank, and again, this is my rank as of today. This was my rank as of, you know, was that almost 5 months ago. You know, some of them weren't on here. Characters got added. Some of them I've dropped down, and some of them I've brought up. So topping off the list here, and this is why not start at the top, right, is Captain Marvel's ult. It is a just 100% damage. It's first turn. You know, typically I don't like to use her ult first turn to build up some charges, but it is a nice ability or damage increase there. 9,000. That's just, it's going to hit like a tank. So to me, that was pretty easy. First turn ability, great character. Had to go in number 1. And she actually, again, number 2, her special, it's a first turn. I don't think you want to use this on a first turn, but it's 90% damage increase. Again, you know, that's actually ranked 2nd in damage. So her 2 abilities there are 1 and 2. Crazy good. One of the reasons why I think she's a, you know, not just god tier, but a, you know, a mega celestial, you know, whatever you want to call it, type tier character. I think she's up there with, you know, even Ultron. You know, Ultron's on a whole nother level, but she's just a beast. especially as you kind of get her up level, higher stars. Third, Korath. This used to be his ultimate. It used to be number 1. It was the highest damage before Captain Marvel came in. You know, you can see the difference there. Now it's third in the damage ranks. It's a first turn ability, high damage. You know, it's not a lot of energy, so you're probably going to use it a couple times at least per match. He's got those speed ups. It's a good ability. I think, you know, especially with the Kree teams that are popping up now, if you want him on your team or have him on your team, that's a really good spot to put those T4 mats. In the 4th spot, Miss Marvel passive. This is when you get you increase from 80 to 100% for a chance to assist and grant assist. This just makes a brawler team amazing. Honestly, you can borderline compete in arena with it, not top tier, but you can compete. You'll have to be very active to stay, but you know, it's something that helps that team really become, you know, at that top upper echelon. So let's zoom in one more here just to make it a little bit easier. It's just, to me, that's one of the best abilities in the game. The next item off here, another Captain Marvel. So it's 30% damage to all enemies plus 10% healing. And this damage to all enemies. This is when she's in that binary and she finishes her turn. So it's another 30%, which I believe, if I remember right, yeah, it's not a very high ranking, but the fact that it could be every turn for binary, it's all enemies, and she got an extra 10% healing per turn to a 20%. I mean, that's Wolverine-esque. You know, it's a great ability. Just making her even more of a top tier level tune. So I brought that in at 5th. The next one I've had on here for a long time, Vision's basic. It's just a lot extra damage on his attack and his second, and it chains to an additional target. You almost always chain with him. That's a 39th rank. That's not a very good high ranking for damage, but just with the the extra damage on multiple targets and the additional target, I really still like that ability. And just, again, Vision being one of the better, I call them solo tunes that just kind of can fit anywhere in the game. I've got him still pretty high in the top 10. Spider-Man's basic, very similar to Vision. I've had this up here for a while. And by the way, if you're wondering why these are green, these are ones I did. And if you're curious, the order I did them in, they're there. Nothing too crazy here. But at the time, this is, I thought this was really worthwhile. I still think it's a great top 10 ability. A lot of extra damage, an additional 10% chance to evade. That's you can see 19 on the rankings for damage. Thanos is passive. Everyone knows this is a great ability. It gives you a 100% chance to generate that energy on a death of an enemy. Huge for raids. It really just, that awesomest, dopest raid team video I did, you watch it, you can see just the energy pumping out and just feeding, whoever you choose to put them next to. I like having them next to, Rocket, but it just, the energy feed there, and I think everyone knows this point, it's just a great ability. 9th, I've got Magneto's passive, and part of this jump, I had this at 24 before, but this is really about just the Brotherhood in general and how much better it makes them. They're already kind of, I don't want to say untouchable, pretty much untouchable. The only way you're beating Brotherhood is probably a mirror match. Obviously defenders, but you've got to have a really strong defenders team still to beat these guys. So I think his passive with these extra focus and health, I think it's definitely a top 10 ability. And then rounding out the top 10, I've got Black Panther's passive, which on kill gives that extra 20%, meaning if he kills someone, it just goes and goes and goes and goes. I personally haven't invested in this yet. I probably will once the Wakanda team is out and I get a really good chance to see how they're going to interact together. But right now, I just don't want to put my mats there because my Black Panther, the extra 20% in the speed bar is, I currently don't need. 11th spot, I've got Scarlet Witch's special. It's when she distributes, always put defense up to all allies, and that's up from 50%. The reason I really like this one is it's a huge increase chance. So whereas you might, it's a 50-50 coin flip, now you're always getting defense up. So that's really a really nice ability. She's got, with vision, she'll always give it to vision, but say you want to put her on a different team because you've got vision with a tech squad or something like that, this really makes her special, much more valuable. 12th, I've got Winter Soldier, his ultimate. It's a first turn. It's a plus 80% damage, which is a huge percent-wise. So let's look at the damage meter over here. 5th. So you get an extra 6,400 damage on top with that 80%. That's a huge hit first turn. He's a little slow, obviously, so he's not the first one to go, but it is you get to use it on his first turn, and typically he's going to last until he gets that ult off. Next, Iron Fist, 100% damage. Very similar to Winter Soldier, but he's a little ranked higher, but he does not get to use his first turn. So that's probably why you see the difference there. And that's kind of the thinking I put into these is, well, is it a first turn move? Is it not? But obviously Iron Fist he doesn't need a ton of energy to get his off, but it's, that's a hard hitting punch there. Ultron Basic plus 70%. That's a rank 6. It's just, a lot more damage. Pyro Special, we got this coming in at 15. So this one, it's, additional damage that you're going to be able to get to both your primary and adjacent. And then the bleeds are applied for one additional turn. That, to me, the additional turn, because you can see the damage is only 70th. But I have this, so you can see I've highlighted it. This thing just melts teams. So, you hit, it's an okay hit, but then the bleeds just tick, and when those things pop, you're just seeing the people fall to the floor. So I personally really like that. The next one, at 16, Venom, his special, plus 50% damage, and that bleeds for 2 turns. Similar to what I just said for Pyro, but, a little bit better damage there with the damage meter. It's, I think you get this, you can use this right away as well if you want. So it gives you the ability to block on that too. So it's a really good ability, more damage, extra turn. These next ones are a lot of damage. Electro Alt, 70%, that's rank 7th, just huge hitter. Spider-Man Alt, 60%. Where's that one at? That ranks in at 11th, damage wise. So again, it's got to be up there. Iron Man's ult, another, that's 60%. What's his come in at? Ranks, 13th. Star-Lord's ult, I used to have this a little bit higher, and I still get torn sometime on this because it's a first turn ultimate. But it's 70%. I've got it probably lower because it's 21st compared to, these other ones. And that's a perfect example of making sure you understand the damage, because it ranks 21st, but his base damage is lower than these guys. So it's like, why isn't it higher than Spider-Man and Iron Man? Well, it's because Spider-Man and Iron Man have higher base damage. So the next one here, Storm's ult, 21st. I used to have this at 8th, and just the more and more I've used her and seen her in game, it just I kind of fell out of love with this one a bit. I like the extra charges, but really you need to get to like 4 charges before you're really getting something nice there. And it's low on this ranking, but just for fun, let's just change this for 1.4. So it gets up to 3,000, which is going to be in your 30 to 40 range. So that's why I was like, okay, well, I mean, it increases quickly, so you really want to get 4 charges on it there. But I just to me, it was really, when I first started doing this, the Thanos raids are around, and you really kind of wanted to have her saved up for that last Thanos node. And so I was like, oh, that would be great. It's, you don't need as many charges, and it would nuke the whole team and blah, blah, blah. And now it's like, well, that raid's gone. There are better teams out there. Teams are stronger, red stars. It kind of made this one drop a bit. Juggernaut's ultimate, it's huge for, Brotherhood, rank 16th damage-wise. Just, that dude hits like a tank. He's going to use it on his, second turn. He's got 2 charges with it at that point, so that extra damage really helps. Deadpool special, you've got, again, additional damage, always nice. What's that hat? 17, damage rankings. Cable's ultimate, another damage. Where's he at? 18. Carnage special, again, more damage. Where's he at here? It comes in at 22nd. And obviously that's a, it's a short, or it doesn't require a lot of energy. So, to me, that's a nice ability. Ronin's alt. I added Ronin recently. And before I, go into Ronin's alt, just so anybody knows, this list leaves off aim just because they suck. Merc Soldier and Sniper were same reason. Ravengers, same reason. Hydra, same reason. Ultimates and Science Supreme, pretty much same reason. There's not a lot of people, and unless you're at extremely high tiers, that are putting T formats into these guys. At some point, I'll add in Baku and Shuri when they're, when Shuri's, more or closer to being in the game, and people are kind of looking at her. Same thing with M'Baku. He's in game, but just, he just got here, so I'm not going to focus a ton of effort into ranking his yet. But anyway, the point is, the reason I went back up there is because Ronin wasn't in here before because he sucked the last time I did this, and then he got the rework. So his ultimate, 60% damage to all enemies, which is everybody, and it's ranked 15th. I was even thinking of ranking this thing higher because it's like, man, that's a lot of damage. So, what was the number there? 4,800. That's a heavy hitter there. So, and then rounding out the quote-unquote great list is Green Goblin special, 70% damage to a stealth target. Otherwise, it's the target, and then plus 50% per positive effect. That's 70. That ranks 9. That thing is a hard-hitting special. So if you're big into Spider-Verse, this. And the Carnage, obviously Spider-Man items up here, but that's a good hitting item. And then I won't go through each one of these. You can kind of see the good ones at the top of the list here. Rocket Special, Daredevil Alt, Black Widow Basic, Jugs Basic, Punisher, and I've got Killmonger showing up. You can kind of see these. Loki Special, Mind Control 2 enemies up from 50% to get the second. That's actually a pretty nice one. So that way you always get that Mind Control. If Loki's a big guy for you, that's you probably already have that in there. So that's pretty much all I'm going to go through in this video. Feel free to check out the list. What I will do is in the description below, I will put the link to this spreadsheet so that you can see it. And kind of just review it at your leisure, go through it. And again, comment, tell me what you think. I'm the only one who's kind of out there putting this giant list together, who's listed, all these different items. And I'd love to hear from the community to see what you guys think as far as where these things need to go. So if you enjoyed the video, you want to see others like it, I'm a big spreadsheet person. Sometimes I'll do walkthroughs and just general strategy discussions. I like to kind of do macro and micro looks. Please click that subscribe button as well as hammer down on that like button, and we'll see you guys again soon. Thanks.